Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, a San Antonio suspect accused of decapitating a man and killing the man's dog.
If a deal is reached by the federal government, migrant families will no longer face separation at the border.
And a Victoria woman and 2 other co-defendants face various charges.
We've got a streak of some beautiful days out there, low humidity and cool, but it's going to start getting warm. And not to worry, I'll have all the latest coming up.
Plus, the Rangers trying to take a commanding 2-0 lead. I'll have that coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Victoria police arrested 3 people Sunday. First, 22-year-old Christina Berger picked up on Cameron Street. Berger faces robbery charges. She's in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $100,000 bond.
Victoria police also arrested this man, 23-year-old Diego Cernia, on charges of kidnapping, engaging in organized criminal activity, and burglary of a habitation with intent to commit another felony. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of bonds totaling $130,000. Finally, authorities arrested and charged 25-year-old Elisa Chavez with robbery. She also faces 5 misdemeanor charges. Authorities say the 3 people we just showed you are co-defendants in a case. Police say it all started around 6:15 a.m. Officers responded to the 3000 block of Wildwood Street about a disturbance. The victim told officers a man and 2 women entered the home without permission, assaulted the victim, and left with their grandchild. Detectives determined a fight happened inside the home, and one of the people involved was a family member of the child. The child was returned to their mother unharmed. Calhoun County Sheriff's deputies arrested 54-year-old Amy Michelle Sellers late Sunday night at an office bar in Port O'Connor. Sellers charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. She is in the Lavaca County Jail in lieu of a $50,000 bond.
Hallettsville police arrested 32-year-old Derek Joshua Garza Velasquez in the 500 block of East 4th Street. Velasquez found to have an outstanding warrant out of the McAllen Police Department for interference with child custody. Velasquez arrested on the warrant. He is in the Lavaca County Jail in lieu of $10,000 bond.
Lavaca County commissioners lifted the burn ban in that area. Authorities asking to please use extreme caution when burning and only when weather conditions allow. The burn ban was put into effect in Lavaca County July 10th.
President Biden scrapped a planned trip to Colorado just hours before he was set to leave. Instead, he's holding meetings with his national security team as Israel's war wages.
Israeli forces are amassing on the Gaza border ahead of a potential invasion. This in response to that Hamas terrorist attack that happened last week.
The hostage number also rising Monday up to 199 people, with Americans among them.
It's high time that they be banished from the realm of existence.
Israel Defense Forces are resolute in their objective as they ready for a massive ground operation against Hamas in Gaza.
You know our deep commitment to Israel's right, indeed its obligation, to defend itself.
On several fronts, U.S. officials are threading the needle between American support for Israel's offensive and minimizing Palestinian civilian casualties.
We all want to see the people of Gaza protected.
Over 1 million Palestinians have fled south from northern Gaza, heeding Israel's warnings. But until Egypt agrees to open its border, they wait in southern Gaza with food, water, and medicine dangerously scarce. In Haifa, a Royal Caribbean cruise ship set sail for Cyprus, evacuating some Americans. But not everyone wanted to go.
I think that we should stay in Israel with our nation and with our family.
Images of war and human suffering are fueling widespread protests in the U.S. and now possibly a murder. Police in Plainfield Township, Illinois, arrested and charged a 71-year-old man with fatally stabbing a 6-year-old Palestinian American boy and seriously wounding his mother. The victims, who are Muslim, were the man's rental tenants. A federal hate crime investigation is underway.
He was a lovely boy who loved his family, his friends, and he paid the price for the atmosphere of hate.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
In recent days, U.S. intelligence officials have acknowledged Iran's broad role in supporting terror groups like Hamas, but they have not yet found what they call a smoking gun directly linking Iran to the Hamas terror attack in Israel that touched off the war.
Hundreds gathered in North Texas to support both Palestine and Israel in the Hamas-Israel conflict. In Dallas, a huge crowd chanted outside City Hall in support of those affected in Gaza. FBI Director Christopher Wray says threats in the U.S. have been rising since the attacks. He says Jews and Muslims, as well as their institutions and houses of worship, have been threatened in the U.S., but he says the Bureau is moving quickly to mitigate the threats. And now let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis. Mac, we talked about this in the 5. You catch that eclipse, right? You caught
absolutely. Yeah, it was a beautiful day. What a weekend for all of that. So the sunshine is still with us, and the only problem is it's going to be starting to get a little warmer. Now tonight, get a load of this. We'll be down to the 40s. West Texas will be down to the 30s, so it's feeling good. We'll talk about that warm-up coming up in just a moment.
A disturbing story out of San Antonio. Investigators say 35-year-old Bradley Adam Dimmick admitted to killing a person and their dog inside a home.
When officials searched the house, they discovered a dead dog along with a decapitated body in the living room, with the victim's head found in a bathroom tub.
A cool, clear morning didn't hide the dark details of what happened in this neighborhood just a few miles from Joint Base San Antonio Lackland. At a home in the 2100 block of San Lucas Street, San Antonio police uncovered a murder they say was especially brutal. They believe 35-year-old Bradley Dimmick not only killed a man and his dog last Friday, but in a sense butchered them.
Sad. It's really sad.
This neighbor out walking his own dog this morning was still shocked by it all.
Hard to speak words that add or subtract on that. I don't know what to tell you.
An arrest affidavit, though, tells it all. Some details are too gory to share, but police did say the 65-year-old man who was murdered was decapitated. The report says they found Dimmick about a mile from the home. Police say a call here in the 500 block of Demya is what first drew their attention to Dimmick. They had a report of someone walking around looking into cars. They say when they tried to question him about it, he suddenly blurted out that he had killed someone. Initially, officers had trouble believing him, then made the disturbing discovery at the home. The crime scene they set up kept Pete Deniergaard's family from getting home.
There was a blockade from this stump to that tree stump over there, and the police wouldn't let him come in.
Dimmick, meanwhile, can't get out of jail without posting bonds of $1.5 million.
Texas A&M says a freshman is dead after falling from a dorm balcony Sunday morning. The school identifies her as a health major named Brittany Romero. Campus police confirmed they're investigating the death, and the school says a justice of the peace has ordered an autopsy. Now, the federal government will no longer be allowed to separate migrant families if a federal court approves a new settlement. The deal was reached between the Biden administration and the ACLU today. It forbids any families from being separated for an 8-year period except in limited instances like when someone commits a serious felony. The settlement also sets up support for families who were previously separated. It comes after border officials separated at least 2,800 children from their parents under Trump's zero-tolerance immigration policy, and more than 1,000 children also separated before that rule went into effect back in 2018.
The State Fair of Texas resumes normal operations after a shooting Saturday night there that wounded 3 people and put a suspect in jail. KXAS reports arrested soon after running away from the shooting was 22-year-old Cameron Turner. Authorities said the extra security at the State Fair was an effort to make visitors and fair workers feel more comfortable about returning. Some visitors with permits are still allowed to bring guns into the fair. Those who did show up Sunday said they still wanted to make the trip to the fair, even though they knew what happened the night before.
We live in the Metroplex, stuff happens, it's everyday life. It's not easy, it's not always pleasant, but I felt fine here. No anxiety, no problem at all. Felt good.
The increased security presence will remain in place during this last week of the fair, which ends this coming Sunday. State lawmakers on Monday considered legislation that would ban private employers from requiring their employees to receive a COVID-19 vaccine. Senate Bill 7 would fine employers $10,000 if they take what they call adverse action against an employee, contractor, or applicant who refuses to be vaccinated for COVID-19. The bill passed the Senate last week and was left pending in the House Committee on State Affairs Monday. Oil prices rose Monday amid escalating tensions in the Middle East. The U.S. benchmark West Texas Intermediate briefly rose to $87.98. Some analysts expect oil prices to hit $100 a barrel due to the growing risk of regional escalation. Gas prices here continue to fall. AAA Texas reports the average price per gallon in Victoria, $2.99. That is 18 cents less per gallon than a week ago and down 42 cents a gallon in 1 month. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us coming up on 25 News now at 6. Ohio Representative Jim Jordan aims in the battle for the House Speaker.
Also ahead, tips on talking to your kids about the war in Israel.
Republican Representative Jim Jordan pushing to be the next Speaker of the House. He's hoping to succeed the recently ousted Kevin McCarthy, who lost the role in large part due to members of his own party. The Republican conference nominated Representative Jim Jordan last week. However, GOP sources say House Republicans will vote no to become Speaker of the House. A nominee has to secure the majority of the full House, which is 217 votes. That means Jordan can only lose 4 GOP votes.
We'll go to the floor tomorrow. It's not about pressuring anybody, just about we got to have a speaker. You can't open the House and do the work of the American people and help our dearest and closest friend Israel if you don't have a speaker.
The House is expected to hold a vote for House Speaker on Tuesday. Now, as the situation in Israel and Gaza continues to unfold, many people far from the conflict are exposed to countless images of war, including young children.
The American Psychological Association has said that consuming violent and traumatic news can potentially, in and of itself, negatively affect mental health.
While the images coming out of Israel in recent days have shocked the world, they are especially alarming for children who may hear and wonder why other children are among the affected and if they're safe.
Images tend to stick in your mind in a very intrusive way.
Children look to adults for a sense of safety and security, even more so in times of crisis.
We all need to be using self-care and coping skills to take care of ourselves and to feel our feelings, to process our feelings.
Experts say you should account for a child's age when speaking to them about the war. Focus on those who are helping and keep checking in.
Start a conversation, but then you're going to follow their lead. So ask them what they know or what they've heard.
Conversations aren't just happening at home. The Los Angeles Unified School District sent letters to employees and families, including tips on how to protect children by helping them understand media coverage and limiting their exposure. And in New York City, the Department of Education is providing resources to schools to facilitate discussions about the conflict and reinforcing a zero-tolerance policy against bias and discrimination. In New York, I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
The White House is reviewing an FDA plan to ban menthol cigarettes and flavored cigars. Approval from the Office of Management and Budget is the last step before finalization, although exactly when that could happen isn't yet known. Scientists say menthol makes smoking more addictive and appealing to young people. In fact, the CDC reports more than half of kids who smoke or use menthol products, they are more addicted to them. Experts predict the tobacco industry will fight it in court if it gets a final approval.
One study suggests a U.S. menthol ban could save more than 500,000 lives in 40 years. And here in the Crossroads, vaping continues to rise in teenagers. Several counties in the Crossroads have made it their mission to stop the trend. Here's our viewer poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. Here's the question. Is vaping an issue at your child's school? Yes or no? Let's look at the numbers. 57%, I believe there, say yes, it is a problem. 43% say it is not. We thank you so much for voting. We want to hear your opinion on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com and we'll have an update on what you and your neighbors are saying on 25 News Now at 10.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Beautiful day out there. You got to admit, this morning was a little cold. Got down to 47. Right now, it's 72. That's our high today, and 47 was the overnight low. That compares to us. In fact, that's 2 degrees after a record low. So, yeah, we were much cooler than normal. But it's going to warm up for a couple of days. In fact, you may see some 90s. Don't worry. I'll talk all about it coming up. Good afternoon, everyone. Everybody was so happy over the weekend, enjoying the really cool, dry weather. I hope you did enjoy it and see the equator, the eclipse and all that. Today, another beautiful day, fairly cool, only about 73. Over the next couple of days, because the south wind is going to return, we're going to warm up pretty quickly. As a matter of fact, you're going to see maybe 80s and 90s over the next couple of days, but it's not forever. At this time of year, the cold fronts start moving, and when they move, the temperatures go down. So we are looking at tonight, still that north wind blowing through the area. That is what's making it so comfortable. And of course, as that settles down and it turns back to the southeast, well, we'll see a little bit of warming temperature around the area, but no precipitation at all. Well, until maybe Thursday. We'll talk about that in a minute. You can see how there is stuff down here with the old front that came through, but that's way down there. We don't have to worry about it. So the temperatures tonight, very delightful. Get a load of this. 47 for us. And 47 up in Austin, a couple of 30s out in far west Texas with that cool, dry air. They're going to enjoy tomorrow as well. 78, tad warmer. But by the next day, we'll be up in the 80s for maybe 1 or 2 days, and that's pretty much it. So it feels a little bit like October. At least it's not summer, okay? And we're pretty tired of that. So what's happening? Well, here's the big monster low that caused all kinds of problems over the weekend. That also is what brought us that north wind. That's why it was so cool and dry and very pleasant. Well, that storm is now pulling out, and as it pulls out, the rain is going to be ending in about a day. High pressure is going to come in and develop right about there. And guess what? Fall, autumn leaves are going to break out like everything. If you have family back in New England or New York or even Concan out in West Texas, ask them to send you a picture of the leaves, because that's not going to happen here. So M. Perez, M-P-E-R-E-Z, at victoriatelevision.com, and I'll be happy to pass it along. So here's what's happening for us. On Thursday, we get this little front. It is not a huge front. The computer model is trying to put rain in it. I'm not convinced about it. I think it'll be too dry. That will come through by Friday, and then over the weekend we'll start getting back to the low 80s, a little bit more comfortable for this time of year. If you get a chance to go do a little fishing, your sunrise is 7:30 in the morning, and look at this. Sunset's already at 6:55. Well, for tomorrow, still a beautiful October day. 53 in the morning, 75 the high in Port Lavaca with a gentle north wind. And then in Cuero, there we're looking at 46 as a low and up to 75. Still lots of sun, no real humidity for another 2 days. And then here's what we expect over the next couple of days. Warming up, but still good, still good. A little bit warmer, but still good, still relatively dry. Thursday is when that little front comes through here. We'll watch and wait to see what it does. It either will do a few little light showers or it'll just blow a dry wind through, and then that will knock the temperature down as we get closer to the weekend, back down to the mid and low 80s, which is a whole lot better. Once again, if you have family back east, tell them to send us a picture. We could use that. That's your 7-day forecast. Want to remind everybody we have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now here's Zach Brown with sports.
The latest in Texas high school football, we've got 4 area teams ranked in the top 10 in their class. I'll have that in sports. Well, after a low-scoring game in Game 1 of the American League Championship Series, Game 2, a much higher-scoring affair. The Texas Rangers able to put up 4 runs in the first inning with Nathan Eovaldi on the mound, but Yordan Alvarez able to get Houston on the board with this big 420-foot bomb that was 109 miles an hour off the bat. And at the time, you thought maybe the Astros were right back in it, but in the top of the third, Jonah Heim gets the run right back, a solo homer of his own. But since then, a Breggy bomb and a second Jordan homer has Houston down just one going to the ninth, which will lead us to your viewer poll. Who will win Game 2 of this ALCS, the Astros or Rangers? And once again, the majority of you guys said Astros. So far, they're letting us down, but let's see if they can pull through. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote sports to participate. And while the Astros letting down a large portion of you guys, some area teams coming through every week in the rankings show it. The Cuero Gobblers, who are still undefeated, remain ranked number 4 in Class 4A. The Gobblers have been elite on both sides of the football. Through the first 2 district games, Cuero has outscored the opposition 111-21. They get Caldwell at home for Game 3 of district play. The Edna Cowboys, who are fresh off their Lavaca River Showdown victory, moving to number 6. The Cowboys are certainly amongst the elite, but were not pleased with their defensive output against Industrial. They feel as if they left some plays out there to be had, and they know this week's Goliad team going to be very tough to beat. For the Tidehaven Tigers, it was just another week. They remain at number 3 in the state of Class 3A and just got done pitching another shutout. They would, without a doubt, have one of the top few defenses in the state with a great running game as well. And as many of you already know, they call that defense the Children of the Corn because of how scary it is. It's going to be a big key for them going forward. And last but certainly not least, the Refugio Bobcats remain at number 2 in Class 2A. The Bobcats ranked just behind Timpson in the rankings, and it's a big week for them. It's Shiner Week. The Comanches, of course, rebuilding, but they know each other very well. This still could be a very good game. And today it's official. Flag football will be part of the 2028 Olympics, and tonight, the Dallas Cowboys on Monday Night Football. Dawn and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. We're back in a moment. Veterans and active duty personnel healing through the game of golf.
Tonight, 2 major events benefiting veterans and active duty personnel through PGA Hope, which stands for Helping Our Patriots Everywhere, were announced today. Veterans from across the country go through a 6-week class guided by a PGA Pro instructor. It's not just for exercise, it's for the veterans' mental, social, and emotional well-being too. PGA Hope offered at over 350 locations across the country. Organizers say it helped more than 7,500 veterans last year. They're hoping to help about 12,000 veterans this year, and anything we can do to help our veterans who put their lives on the line to save our freedom and liberty, I'm all for it. Take one of those carts, you people, and get out on the golf course and have a great time. And one thing, you know, our weather today, now one problem with our weather today, it was really nice. For golfers,
why?
The wind. Ooh, no, too much wind for the golfers.
That'll be settling down for tomorrow. In fact, it'll be turning around, and that north wind will be over. And that's why We're going to warm up, and we're waiting for the next little front. You see it right there. Should be in late Thursday night, and that will get us back down into the mid-80s, which would be a whole lot better than 90. You know, I mean, I don't want to go there anymore. So we've got another front coming. I don't believe it's going to have any rain with it, but we will see as we get closer to the date, and I'll give you a definite answer. I mean, a forecast with no uncertainty.
You know, Lavaca County ended its burn ban. And I'm only seeing a 20% chance on Thursday and a 20% chance on Monday with these heavy winds. Well, I shouldn't say heavy winds, but they're stiff winds.
Yeah, and very low humidities.
And very low humidity.
And that's what worries me, but, you know, they have to make that call. You know, people got to do, you know, field work and brush clearing and all that. But with the nice little rain we've had recently, I hope things work out. But it's going to be generally dry for 7 days.
All right, Mag, thank you. And thanks for joining us. Oh, we got a ball game tonight, don't we?
We do.
The Cowboys, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.